The American Wendigo is terrifying. You see, it tries to lure you into the woods by mimicking people or animals or whistling sounds to try and draw you outside. Now, there's a lot of lore around the Wendigo. For instance, they say you should never look it in the eyes because once you do, it will have control over you and can lure you out into the woods. They also say it has this supernatural ability to make pets not be aware of its presence. And it's also said that it cannot enter a home that is not built with wood from the forest which it resides. Now, most of the stories in America of the Wendigo come out of northern Minnesota. Now, there was this woman named Kathy. Kathy said during this period of her life, she was going through some really hard financial times. And she had this friend in Minnesota who owned several acres and had this trailer. And her friend was like, if you need a place to stay until you get back on your feet, you can come live in my trailer. But the trailer, was like a mess. You'd have to clean it up, but you're more than welcome to come here. So Kathy takes her friend up on this offer. She drives across country to Minnesota, and she gets to her friend's house about 8 at night. Her friend immediately takes her to this trailer, which is almost like a half a mile away from where she lives. So Kathy goes inside the trailer. It was like this huge mess, and she started cleaning it up and making it look nice. At about 1 o'clock at night, she started to get tired. So she said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and lay down. Now, being that they were in the middle of the woods, she didn't think she should lock her door on the trailer because she said, we're out here in the middle of nowhere. Who's going to get us? So her and her dog, they lay down and they go to sleep. Well, at 3 in the morning, she hears something outside of the trailer. And she notices her dog, who's laying right next to her, has lifted up its head and is moving it left to right, like it has picked up on something. And that's when she hears her friend's voice say, "Kathy, come on outside." And she almost responded to her because she thought it was her friend until she realized it was 3 in the morning and her friend goes to bed like at 9 o'clock. And she also thought it was weird that the dog didn't even respond to this thing. So she just lays in her bed holding onto her dog, and the dog is shaking and terrified. And that's when she starts hearing scratching sounds on the side of the trailer. And once again, she hears her friend's voice say, "Kathy, come outside right now, come outside." And this whole time, she's just holding onto her dog, kind of freaking out. And then that's when she said the front door of this trailer opened up by itself. And she didn't want to look. She didn't want to see what was coming through that door. So she just put her head down, and she could hear this thing sort of breathing and groaning as it entered into her trailer. And she hears her friend's voice say, "Look at me right now. Look me in the eyes." And she doesn't respond. She doesn't say anything. And she said she started to say this prayer that she knew when she was a young girl. And she kept saying it over and over again. And eventually, whatever this was, left the trailer and took off into the woods. The next morning, she goes to her friend's house, and she confirms that her friend was asleep and did not visit her. And she said, to this day, she is terrified to stay alone in northern Minnesota.